reiterates compliance to EMSA. The OTR invites more ships to conduct crew change in the Philippines. Magsaysay bats more for MV Angelic Power crew. Welcome to Marino World Weekend. I am Lynn Bacani. Maritime Industry Authority or Marina Administrator Robert M. Pedrad has reiterated the Philippines' compliance to the European Maritime Safety Agency or EMSA. The retired Vice Admiral was the primary guest at the recent Marino World webinar on Marina STCW policies and implementations. Pedrad was joined by reactors of international expertise and domestic interests, namely Mr. Guy Platten, Secretary General of the International Chamber of Shipping or ICS, Mr. Adam Lewis, Head of Training and Operations of the International Maritime Employers Council or IMEC, Captain Edgardo Flores, member of the Technical Panel for Maritime Education, Ms. Karen Avellino, President of the Philippine Association of Maritime Institutions or PAMTCI, Mr. Sabino Zar Manglikmot II, President of the Philippine Association of Maritime Institutions or PAMI, Captain Jaime Quiñones, President of the Masters and Mates Association of the Philippines or MAMAP, and Chief Engineer Gilbert Milana, President of the Organization of Chief Marine Engineer Officers of the Philippines or OCMEOP.
Preparation for the corrective action of EMSA. And then this task group undertook a root cause analysis of the findings through the review of internal core processes and existing policies using supply input, process output, and customers diagram, 5Y analysis, fishbone diagram. In short, they conducted a study on how to completely address the findings of EMSA. And then after which, we came up with a formation of a comprehensive action plan to address EMSA findings. One more thing is we handled meetings with the higher education because EMSA came here and inspected 11 of our maritime higher education institution, and we would like that these schools will be able to comply or to address the findings of EMSA when they inspected them. These are the steps that we're undertaking, and we have only one more step. First, we opened our corrective actions to the stakeholders. It's the first time in 14 years that we allow our stakeholders to look on the corrective action, gave their insight, gave their recommendations, we incorporated it, and that will be the result of our final corrective action. So when we submit it to the European Commission or the Safety of Sea, it is not just a work of the Maritime Industry Authority, but it's the work of the entire maritime industry of the Philippines.
Administrator Pedrad also talked about the seafarers vaccination and crew change programs of the government. The webinar has materialized with the support of major firms led by PTC Group, Liberian Ship Registry, and TSM Group. A crewing agent has warned that the COVID-19 vaccination delays are causing crew shortages and rising wages. Henrik Jansen, Danica Crewing Managing Director, says the Eastern European crewing market is under extreme pressure as companies turn to places like Ukraine and Russia to replace officers and crew. Jensen notes, in places like Russia, vaccines are generally available. However, in other countries, such as Ukraine, the demand for vaccine outstrips supply, resulting in a longer waiting time. He says seafarers who do not sign up immediately as their leave begins are waiting 4 to 6 weeks to be vaccinated. And once they get their first dose, they have to wait a further 8 to 10 weeks for the second dose, and then an additional 2 to 3 weeks for their immunity to be fully effective. This means many seafarers are now out of the loop for 16 to 20 weeks, which is about double their usual leave period. Henson concludes this is why it is so important for their seafarers to be designated as essential workers and given their vaccinations as soon as possible, and preferably the single-shot vaccine. Cyprus is exploring the potential to become a vaccination hub for all visiting seafarers, proactively supporting long-term progress for seafarer welfare. This was announced after the Cyprus Shipping Deputy Ministry issued a circular which outlines plans to provide COVID-19 vaccinations to all its 40,000 seafarers on Cyprus-flagged and Cyprus-managed vessels. The circular said the vaccines will be administered by qualified medical staff to all seafarers working on board Cyprus-flagged ships, irrespective of the location of the vessel and certificates provided. Vaccines will also be available to all seafarers serving on board vessels calling at Cypriot ports, regardless of flag, with close ties to Cyprus, such as ships managed by companies based in the country. Cyprus Shipping Deputy Minister Vasilios Demetriades reiterates that the global seafarer vaccination program starts at the national level. Up next, DOTR invites more ships to conduct crew change in the Philippines. Magsaysay bats more for MV Angelic Power crew.
Prolonged quarantine and isolation, repeated COVID testing, impossible travel restrictions, delayed crew changes. It has been a tough time for our seafarers, and it's not just a physical pandemic anymore. It has become a psychological, emotional one, leaving our seafarers with mental distress, worried, anxious, depressed, and in a prolonged emotional and mental health crisis. When the seafarers are in distress, the whole industry will be. What we see in the future are vaccinated crew with ease of travel along the ports and countries where there is timely crew relief and they are not afraid of losing their job. We are in full support for the fair future of our seafarers.
Hi, everyone. What a special day this is. The day of the seafarer, or shall I say the day of the hero? Yes, you are all our heroes. We commend your resilience, your hard work, your determination, and your leadership. We can't thank you enough for everything you do on a daily basis. We want you to know that we are always by your side no matter what. We're here to support you, we respect you, and we can't thank you enough. Be well, be strong, be healthy. We are one fantastic team. We are the OSM family, and it is all about people. It always has been, it always will be. It's in our DNA, it is our culture. Thank you.
Mariana Academy of Maritime Studies. Full STCW assessment for seafarers. One-stop shop. Unique with mapped up bridge. Mariana Academy of Maritime Studies stands firm on its commitment on training and assessment despite challenges of the pandemic.
What if I tell you that KSIM Connect has become a reality? It is the cloud-based ecosystem for maritime education and training, where Kongsberg provides simulation and services to all members. As an instructor, my main goal is to educate and train seafarers to acquire skills promoting safety, sustainability, and efficiency at sea. At KSIM Connect, I can efficiently manage my simulators, my exercises, and my students. In the exercise archive, I can store my library of exercises, and if I want, collaborate and share them with my colleagues or others in the global community. KSIM Connect enables me to give students access to cloud simulation, so they can train anytime and anywhere while learning at their own pace. In addition, I can explore the library of models and exercise areas, download or subscribe those that fit the learning objectives. And I can even order spare parts or a service visit if needed. Kongsberg has started to create the future of maritime education and training by creating the community where instructors can find news, explore and download available simulator models, distribute or share exercises that fit the curriculum. Imagine using KSIM Connect to integrate our simulators in the same virtual exercise environment, enabling students to train and interact together. It doesn't matter whether you're in Singapore, Australia, or in the United States. As long as you're online, you are part of the knowledge-sharing community. Kongsberg is shaping the future of maritime education and training by creating the community. Let's continue building this community together for the benefit of ourselves and the entire maritime training industry. Join KSIM Connect today.
It all started from building homes in the South and transformed into providing roof for every Filipino family. Solar Resources Incorporated's residential developments let you live in space that allows you to achieve a balanced lifestyle. Las Brisas is the newest 9-hectare residential community nestled inside an expansive master plan development of Tierra del Sol in Panza, Cavite. Offering around-the-clock security, a playground for the kids, and leisure hubs for your relaxation and entertainment. This residential community is located between Panza and 13 Martires, Cavite. It's only 4.3 kilometers away from SM City 13, Tower Mall 13, and Public Market. It is accessible via Manila, via Cavitex, and upcoming developments such as Cavite-Laguna Expressway and construction of the LRT-1 extension. Solar Resources Incorporated is committed to offering you your ideal home that makes valuable investment and that great suburban experience. Retreat to this southern residence and make your move into something new. Start new living with Solar Resources.
Magsaysay Maritime Corporation or MMC has announced it is aware of the plight of the crew of MV Angelic Power, a Greek-flagged bulk carrier currently moored at Port Gisan, South China. Of the 22 crew on board, 8 are Greek sailors and 1 Greek technical inspector. 13 are Filipino nationals deployed by the giant MMC. The Maritime Court of the People's Republic of China has imposed a ban on lifting anchor as the Greek Ministry of Shipping and Island Policy have already initiated the procedures of administrative and criminal sanctions against the ship management company for non-compliance with the continuous written instructions and orders and non-execution of the due acts for the disembarkation of the crew. MMC has been coordinating with its principal and the ship managers to repatriate the crew at the soonest time. However, MMC admits this is easier said than done because of legal and regulatory considerations. The ship and its owners are currently embroiled in legal proceedings affecting not only their interests. The Pan-Hellenic Association of Merchant Marine Sailors, or PANAN, issued a separate statement that the health of the seafarers on board the MV Angelic Power is in an extremely critical condition. PANAN reports that after repeated telephone communications with the vessel, 5 members of the crew are in urgent need, including the captain of medical care. It also emphasizes that the psychological condition of many seafarers has deteriorated dramatically since some of them are trapped in the ship for up to 17 months while the supply and fuel of the ship have begun to run out. Transportation Assistant Secretary for Maritime Vice Admiral Narciso Bingson Jr. is encouraging more ship owners to conduct their crew changes in the Philippines. In the recent Maritime League's Maritime Forum, Vinson said as of October 2020 to June 2021, there were more than 3,000 ships and 50,000 seafarers served by the country's one-stop shop, or OSS, while strictly implementing the protocols.
Since September of 2020 to present, the DOTR maritime sector is overseeing 6 crew change hubs nationwide, particularly in Subic, Bataan, Port of Manila, Batangas, Cebu, and Davao. Our crew change hubs are strategically located in ports that are highly accessible to global trade, offering robust maritime services and equipped with world-class port facilities. As way ahead, we are also be opening another hubs in Visayas and Mindanao. As discussed earlier, the DOTR is tasked to establish one-stop shops for seafarers, or OSS, in these crew change hubs for uniform processing of seafarers' arrival in our gateways. The OSS is composed of 24 government agencies working hand in hand in all the 6 crew change hubs to serve the needs of our seafarers who plan to embark or disembark in the country. Together, we are enforcing the health and safety protocols of the Philippine government related to crew changes. Allow me to give a general overview of our procedures for on-signers and off-signers. These procedures are being updated depending on the latest issuances of the national government for the quarantine and testing of arriving and departing individuals. Shown are the general procedure for on-signers, wherein they have to undergo 4 steps: registration, quarantine and testing, departure formalities, and embarkation. We also have special procedure for transiting foreign on-signers under the Philippine Grain Lane Program, provided you are negative of COVID-19 and they do not exhibit any symptoms. They are given 6 hours to proceed from the airport to their port of embarkation for the departure formalities. If they fail to do so, they shall be subjected to the same health and quarantine and testing protocols as with the inbound Filipino seafarers. Shown now are the general procedures for off-signers, wherein they have to undergo 5 activities: registration, arrival formalities, disembarkation, quarantine proper and testing, and departure. Similar to the foreign on-signers, we have also special procedures for transiting foreign off-signers who want to avail of the Grain Lane Program, provided they do not exhibit any sign of COVID-19 and they possess a confirmed outbound flight within 4 hours from disembarkation. They are only given 4 hours to proceed directly to the airport after disembarkation. If they fail to do so, they shall be subjected to the same protocols as with inbound Filipino seafarers. As shown in the earlier slide, both on-signers and off-signers are subjected to mandatory quarantine and testing procedures of the national government. Our crew change operations are 100% dependent on the issuances of IATF and NTF. Hence, off-signers must undergo 10+4 quarantine procedures as mandated under IATF Resolution number 114, wherein they will be tested on the 7th day. Their quarantine for the first 10 days must be done at a BOQ accredited or OWA designated facility, while the remaining 4 days must be done in their residences while being supervised by their LGUs or local government units. On-signers, on the other hand, must follow a 7-day mandatory quarantine at a BOQ accredited facility. They must be tested at least on the 6th day of their quarantine proper inside their quarantine facility to avoid necessary exposure.
Carnival Cruise Line brand ambassador John Hild has been denied to fly to US. Hild was supposed to join the Carnival Horizon, one of Carnival Cruise Line's first ships to resume operations after more than 1 year. On his Facebook page post, Hild expressed his disappointment.
I have no words. I arrived here at Heathrow Airport this morning and I had all the proper documentation, my PCR test, and I spoke with a gentleman from the Office of Homeland Security who informed me that because of the latest variant in the UK, that they were not allowing any UK citizens to fly. Even with the letter that I have, the exemption that I have, the fact that I'm going to open up the cruise industry again, didn't want to know. Said, very sorry, you have to apply now to the American Embassy for a special exemption letter, but he did quite politely say that they were virtually impossible to get. And until the rules change, that I am not allowed into the United States of America. A year and a half I have been waiting to get back on a ship. A year and a half working all towards this day. I understand, I respect it. Of course I do. I ask you to respect our rules. I have to respect their rules as well. But I don't know what to say. I'm usually full of hope and full of some kind of joy but you know, I just don't know what to say. I really don't. All those people who booked with me, I'm so sorry. Hundreds of you are expecting to see me on the ship. Look, I'm here at the airport, suitcase packed. And there's nothing about it in the news. There's no updates or anything. And I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying I've had both my jabs, a PCR test, got a letter from Carnival Cruise Line saying that I'm doing important work, all this. And so here I am, here at Heathrow Airport, just knowing that in 3 days' time, I'm not going to be on the ship with all of you.
Next, on Maritime Viewpoints, IMEC Training Manager Manila, Dan Aldrich Tolentino, shares his stories of survival and IMEC's cadetship program amidst the pandemic. Thank you for watching Marino World Weekend. I am Lynn Bacani. See you again next Saturday. Stay safe.